Robert Jacobs is a professor at the Hiroshima Peace Institute and a historian of nuclear technologies and radio technopolitics. And he joins us from Hiroshima today. Delighted to have you on the programme. So how safe is this exactly?
Well, it's definitely not negligible. I mean, there is definitely an impact. When you release radioactive material into the ecosystem, there is an impact on the ecosystem. So it's not catastrophic. Many nuclear power plants all over the world release tritium water into local aquifers. So that's not so unusual, but there's a lot of other radionuclides, a lot of other radioactive particles in this water, and rather than containing it, releasing it into the ecosystem will allow it to circulate through the ecosystem. So there certainly will be some danger and some risk to people and to other living creatures. So it's certainly not negligible or non-existent, but it's not catastrophic in the sense that people will be poisoned or sick immediately in any large numbers.
So when you mentioned the risk and the danger there, what exactly are you talking about?
Well, in this water, there are radioactive particles, a variety of radioactive particles that have not been removed. Tritium is the one that is the hardest to remove. It's almost impossible to remove, really. And so there's a lot of tritium, but there's also other radioactive particles. These remain dangerous for different periods of time, depending on what chemical it is. And so if you were to get one particle inside of your body, it could easily remain inside of your body and cause disease. The most likely way that this would happen is that it gets taken up by plants in the water or by fish in the water, which end up, because humans are the apex predator, which end up in the human diet. So single particles are enough to spark disease in human beings. It's a really widely distributed risk. There's really no telling who might be somebody who would eat or swallow something like this, but for that person, it is an actual risk and can easily present disease.
And what about other options here? Because my understanding is that the other options are more expensive.
Exactly. The other options are more expensive. So, for example, we could hold this water for 100 years, and that would allow a lot of these particles to reduce their energy and decay. And so, when it was released, let's just say in 100 years from now, they would be far less potent. A lot of particles would no longer be dangerous. The ones that are dangerous would be weaker, and so that would cost more money. But it's in a sense, and this disaster happened in part through lax regulation, and it's certainly incumbent to me, on the Japanese government to reduce the risk as much as possible, and there's obviously a cost to that.
Okay, Robert Jacobs, thank you so much. A professor at the Hiroshima Peace Institute and a historian of nuclear technologies and radiation technopolitics, joining us from Hiroshima today.